What's going on, guys? It's Kyle again with DTOM Knives and Gear, and I am so excited to talk to you about Pagow! This guy, the Cold Steel Espada. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back, guys. Okay, you guys are here. You know what this channel is about. I love knives. And I do love the bigger knives most of the time. You know, I've got some smaller knives, some very, lightweight EDC knives, but I still like them to be a little bit larger. This, yes, is ridiculously large. The Cold Steel Espada. What does Espada mean? It is sword in Spanish. And, yep, this is a pocket sword. This is, I believe, an Andrew Demko design. And from Cold Steel, they make big, ridiculous knives, and I love almost all of them. I have a bunch of Cold Steels. Matter of fact, almost all of my Cold Steel knives, all my Cold Steel knives are loaned out to other folks right now because I have the 4-Max, which I would actually love to put up to this because the 4-Max is an absolute beast, but it is dwarfed by this thing. The 8015 and the 8010. I also have the Andrew Demko 8020, which I love. So I'm a huge fan of Andrew Demko, and I'm a huge fan of Cold Steel knives because I like, really well built, just tough knives. And that's what Cold Steel is. Now, they're not fidgety, and it's the reason I don't only have Cold Steels is because I love to fidget with my knives. But I really appreciate the design, the triad lock from Andrew Demko, and just the beefiness, hard use that you can get out of Cold Steel knives. They all come super duper sharp, and so I am a huge fan. This was sent to the channel by, you already know who he is, Mr. Stud Fishing, Ryan. He purchased this on the secondary market, and he said to the guy just to send it to me before he got it. So I'm getting this done relatively quickly because I need to get this to him because he hasn't even seen it yet. So, yeah, this thing was so much fun. I did carry this, and I carried it to work. People said I wouldn't, but I did. I did. I carried this to work, and I was waiting. I was just waiting because everybody knows, of course, I'm a knife guy at work to either ask to see what knife I'm carrying today or to, hey, can I borrow your knife? I need to cut this. Waiting. Just sitting there like, come on, somebody ask because that's part of the fun of having a knife like this. So when they did, I was like, oh, yeah, sure. There you go. It freaked people out. It was amazing. Oh, like, oh my God. And that's what you want to do when you have a knife like this. Look at this. I'm sitting this. There's 2 full grips on this guy. One like this, one like this. It is a 2-handed knife. And it screams, use me. I want to cut something. Now, I cut some stuff with this. I didn't go overboard. It's not my knife. Ryan said to do that, but it's not my knife, so I didn't. But I did cut. I cut some cardboard with it. I cut some other stuff, packages. Yes, I even used this to open up some packages at work. I was like, hey, man, you got to open this package from the shipping department? He goes, yeah. It's like, okay. So I could just use it. And it is so much fun. The deployment method on this guy is that big old thumb disc right there, which I don't usually like thumb disc. And of course, you can't just open this thing. You have to give it wrist to be able to flick it open. But I noticed, and this actually made it more fun. I don't usually like the Emerson Wave feature. I'm not into that. I can open this knife using that by pulling it out of my pocket and using that thumb disc as the Emerson Wave. That was so much fun. Boy, that was amazing. And that once I figured out that I could do that, that's how I opened this knife when I was at work, was pulling it out and letting it just fling open. I mean, come on, can you imagine? Most people are probably, if you live in certain areas, you just can't do that. Now, everybody knows I'm a knife guy, and it works, so it wasn't a big thing. But yeah, I can totally see you whipping this out somewhere else and people being like, what the hell's wrong with you? I like the attention. That's what I like to do with big, ridiculous knives like this. This is S35VN, but it doesn't say that. I mean, from what I can see, whenever I pulled up the specs on the Espada, it said it was S35VN. it is a hollow grind, and it's like 15 thousandths behind the edge. People are like, what are you going to use a knife like that for? It can't cut. That's horse shit. Look at this. Oh, oh, oh. This thing slices like crazy. It's 15 thousandths behind the edge with this hollow grind. Now, you've got a lot of blade here, so you got enough room to grind that off. Oh, this thing is amazingly good at slicing. I mean, it's only got about 150,000 stock. So you're looking at PM2 stock thickness. Very wide blade, obviously. Very big old clip point looking style blade here. It is just, and look at the handle. The handle is really nice looking. I mean, it's not like, great materials or anything. I believe it's just a G10. But it's well done. It's very well done. It's nice and smooth. The back lock on this thing, or the triad lock, takes a lot of pressure to get that released. So you do have to kind of get used to it. But it's not going to, let's see. You need to get your finger out of the way. Yeah. Cold Steels are notorious for cutting me. But this thing, obviously, I can't open it one-handed. I open it with but closing this, I always closed it with two hands. That's just the way I did it. I didn't want to lose a finger. But yeah, so I love this knife. It is very polished on the bolsters, the top and the bottom. So it picks up fingerprints, and the blade is a polished, on the flats and whatnot. So it's a fingerprint magnet. That kind of, got under my skin a little bit. I couldn't keep this thing looking pretty, but who cares, right? But construction-wise, it's cold steel. Yes, it's kind of a gimmick to most people, but it's not a gimmick knife. It is a well-built knife. When this thing locks up, even with this long blade, no blade play. This thing is sturdy as a rock. Like I wanted to go, I didn't. And Ryan said I could, but I didn't. I wanted to go out into the woods and just start chopping stuff. That would have been so much fun, but I didn't because it's not my knife, and I am responsible. I'm not going to do it. But maybe one day I will get one of these. I don't know. It's definitely something very fun to have in the collection. So I understand why Stud did it. He had never seen one before, never had one he came across, and he jumped on it. These things were not cheap. They are discontinued from what I understand. From the paper that I've got right here on Blade HQ, it says that it's discontinued. Or maybe not. Maybe they were just out of stock. I don't know if it's discontinued or not. I'm just apologize for that. But it's not a cheap knife. It was about $330 when it was new. I'm not sure how much Stud paid for it on the secondary. I'm assuming he did not pay anywhere near that. But yeah, I think it's awesome. If you just have a knife collection, you want something ridiculous. So let's see here. What? You can't even fit it all the way in frame. Look at that. Let me just, this thing is absolutely redonkulous. So what are our specs? Instead of turning the camera around because I don't think I can get this in focus and in frame, this thing is a little bit different than what I saw on the paper when I printed out some specs here. So it's about 17 and a quarter or 17 and an eighth inches overall. 17 inches overall. I just love that. It has an 8-inch blade. 8 inches. With a cutting edge of about 7 and a quarter. So you've got enough blade to do pretty much anything you want. I mean, what else do you need to do anything else? See, you've got this grip right here to chop. And of course, you can choke up on this thing to you can do anything with this knife. I mean, obviously, smaller knives do well for other stuff, but I'm telling you, this is a wonderful tool. It doesn't, most people probably wouldn't look at this and say, that's a pretty badass tool. And then, yeah, it is. It totally is. I love the way this thing cuts. Let's see, what are the other specs instead of turning this thing around? So I said, like 15 thousandths behind the edge. Your handle length is about 9.5 inches. Excuse me. What does that equate to? I mean, look. Here's the the Spartan Harsey folder. What Spartan Harsey folder? Not Spartan Harsey. The Palace. The Palus. I'm just so excited right now I can't talk. Look at this knife. Disappears. A fully opened, pretty nice size knife. it disappears behind just the handle of this guy. It's ridiculous. I know it's ridiculous, but it's awesome. It's awesome. So, you guys know, I take that back. I do have some Cold Steels here, but these are the ones that are, you know, in the collection that not many people I send this to. This is the Cold Steel Voyager XL. It dwarfs it. Dwarfs the XL Voyager. I mean, I also have one that I got from Kevin. Shout out to Lefty EDC. I mean, come on. This is a big knife. This is like a 1.5 inch knife. And it dwarfs the Voyager. Yay. Okay, so what about the other? I have, you know, like I said, the Cold Steel 4MAX I would like to have been able to put up against this, but I've lent it out to the second best Kyle in this community, Kyle Lamphere, shout out. Here it is against the Midgard Messer Viking knife. What? One of the biggest knives I have in my collection, and yeah. I mean, you didn't need to see that. You already knew that. Yeah, so I was very excited. I mean, the thing is that what I wanted to get across on this video is that it is an excellent tool. It's not just a gimmick. It cuts amazingly. It's very well made. And it's beautiful. Now, the only other thing that is cumbersome, okay, is, of course, carrying the thing. It's cumbersome. There's your pocket clip. Pocket clip works fine. That's how much knife's going to stick out of your pocket, though. And so people are going to know you got a knife in your pocket. And of course they are. If you're carrying this, you don't care. I did not care. So yeah, it was cumbersome because even, you know, with this pocket clip being way low like this, it was the bottom of my pocket. And I got, you know, I wear pants with very deep pockets. That's right. I got deep pockets. But it was sitting all the way down. So it's not very comfortable to carry. I mean, I carried it, and could I carry this? I totally could. I wear a big belt, and I wear a bunch of stuff on me, so I could totally carry this thing and it not be a problem. But yeah, it's not going to carry all that well. I think it would be awesome to have like a Kydex sheath on your belt that would catch this and flick it out whenever you opened it. Oh my God, that would be so freaking cool. I'm sure there's people out there that's probably already done this, or at least know people that can do it for them. I think that would be badass. Yeah, but like I said, whenever I figured out that I could get this thing flicked by catching that on my pocket, game changer. It made it a lot more fun, even though it was fun to begin with. So anyways, I mean, guys, this is a ridiculously stupid knife, but it is well worth it. It is so well worth it. If you like this kind of, I mean, most people don't in this community. We use knives as tools, and flashy stuff. I mean, everybody's got their niche, right? As far as in this community about what they like. This is something that I do like. I mean, whenever I bought this, I was like, everybody was like, "You're crazy. Why would you ever carry something like that?" I mean, and I do carry this. I carry it all the time, and I like this stuff. Now, this one's much easier to just use the thumb stud to flick and whatnot. But it's this kind of stuff that just kind of tickles my fancy. This is just the way it is. And everybody needs to know this is not a gimmick. The Espada is a wonderful, wonderful tool that you can use with two hands. Oh, this thing. I'm telling you, it's something you have to experience. To have a knife like this and hold it with two hands, it's unbelievable. I know that some of the guys that I'm friends with in this community, Jake and Kevin and all them, they would probably be like, "No, I don't even want to see that." And I get it. It's not for everybody, but it is for me. I love it. So thanks for stopping by and checking this thing out with me. It is now going back to stud fishing, unfortunately, because I think this thing is just so much fun to have around. I mean, this thing would never even fit in my knife case. I'd have to keep it somewhere else. There's no possible way. So anyways, stay safe, guys, in this crazy world that we're living in, and we will see you in the next one.